Here we go.
Alright, welcome back to the channel, and today we're going to take another look at Warlock tanking now that we've had some chances to put it in action and get a feel for the ins and outs of it. So if you like this kind of content, be sure to leave us a like, comment, subscribe, all that fun jazz. We're just going to jump right into it. So I'm not really going to touch on the gear much. I will touch on the runes that you'll use. You want to be using Master Channeler on your chest piece, Demonic Grace on your legs, and Metamorphosis on your gloves. So yeah, they finally made it a little easier to get the Metamorphosis rune, although it's still going to be pretty much max level or close to max level before you can get it. So yeah, I absolutely detest that. I really wanted to be tanking dungeons as I was leveling on this guy, and apparently that's too much to ask for. So we'll have to wait for phase 2 to be tanking dungeons, basically, to make it to the next, phase. Anyways, gear-wise though, I'm not really going to touch on it. You just take the best that you can get, right? What we are going to look at is talents. I've said it before, I'll say it again, this is the best tanking spec for a Warlock that you're going to find, because when you go to tank something, you have two responsibilities. You need to keep threat, and you need to have damage mitigation. This is going to be your best damage mitigation spec by far. So 5 out of 5 Demonic Embrace for the increased stamina. 2 out of 2 improved health stone. That's going to increase the amount you're healing with your health stone. Improved Voidwalker increases the effectiveness of sacrifice. Ignore the rest of that. Sacrifice is what you're wanting to look at. So with these talents, my sacrifice is shielding me for 660-ish damage every time I use it. So keep that in mind. We'll come back to that one. Fell Domination. The reason you want this is because if you get low health in the middle of a fight and have to sacrifice your Voidwalker, you want to get it right back out so you can keep using Demonic Grace. So this is, yeah, a must. But you also need 1 point in Master Summoner in order to make this work. If you don't have this 1 point in Master Summoner, it's still a right at 5-second cast, which you're going to lose that shield before you get your Voidwalker back out again. So as soon as you hit sacrifice, you want to pop Fell Domination. These two talents are going to bring your cast time for your Voidwalker down to 2.5 seconds. So your shield, even against raid bosses, is going to last long enough for you to get your Voidwalker back out. So your healers are going to have time to get you topped off, and you're gonna have time to get your Voidwalker back out and be ready to use again if needed to. Then 4 points in Fell Stamina, just to increase the health of your Voidwalker. This increases the amount of the shield that you get from sacrifice. The more health your Voidwalker has, the more it shields for. So as far as damage mitigation goes though, this is absolutely the best you're going to find. I'm going to throw up some footage of tanking a raid, the Black Fathom Depths raid, to put in the background while we continue talking about this a little bit. Alright, so I've got some gameplay going on in the background while we talk about this a little bit. This was my first step into Black Fathom depths, so yeah. I didn't know the fights, I didn't know the strategies, so kind of give me a little leniency there. I didn't do any research. I wanted to go in blind and find out for myself what I thought about the raid, and yeah. And it turns out it's not bad. Anyways, so we were talking about the spec and the Voidwalker. Now, this is going to be a shard heavy playstyle, because if you're tanking like this, what you really want to do if you have enough shards is, before you pull the boss, sacrifice your Voidwalker and immediately pull out another one. That's your first sacrifice of the boss fight. That's going to give you several hits worth of shield before you even start taking damage, letting everyone kind of get situated in the raid and, if you know, get ready to do the fight without having to worry about your health going down too fast. So that's your first sacrifice. Now, at this point, like during the fight, if you start getting low health, that's when you're going to hit sacrifice on your Voidwalker again. That's going to give you enough time to hit your Fell Domination and summon your third Voidwalker for the fight, right? And altogether, that's going to be, what, like 1800 damage that you're mitigating throughout the fight during, you know, whenever you need it, basically. You compare that to the Imp buff, and I mean, the Voidwalker is just going to be doing that much more good. Like, it's not even close in my mind. You know, for one, just being able to put, you know, a stop to your incoming damage for a brief time during the middle of a raid boss fight is just great. You know, you can control how much damage you're taking. So, the other thing I really wanted to talk about is rotation. Now, right here in this fight right now, I'm not actually tanking the boss. This is the time when you're going to want to put up your Curse of Agony and your Corruption, Immolate, Drain Life. Make sure that Drain Life should be always active for you during this. But this is a good time for you to throw up, you know, some more damage spells than what you normally would do. But whenever you are actually tanking the boss, you need to be spamming Searing Pain, 100%. You're not going to have time for Corruption, Curse of Agony, Immolate, Immolation, any of that junk. It just isn't going to work. The only thing you're going to have room to spare is your Drain Life, and you need that to help keep yourself alive. So Drain Life and Searing Pain is the only spells that you really need while you're trying to build up threat. Now, you'll see I've got the charge there on my #1 key. I don't think I've used that once. I don't find it useful at all. And the main reason for that is Searing Pain has a 30-yard range. That's where you want to start your fight. You want to be pulling with Searing Pain every time. And you can usually get 3 to 4 Searing Pains onto a target before they even make it to you, which gives you a nice head start on aggro. on your threat buildup to where you don't have to worry about losing threat as much. Now, granted, that does rely on people in your group knowing what they're doing and not, just immediately going after them as soon as you pull. I mean, well, people do what they do, But as far as threat goes, Searing Pain's really all you need to be using. Drain Life is, it's threat, but it's more just to keep your self-healing up and make it easier on the healers, right? Especially since you're going to be needing to life tap periodically through the fight, and the Drain Life is going to help, share the burden that your healers are going to have from you life tapping on top of taking damage. Ideally, you want to wait until the other tank taunts off and then do your life tap, but it doesn't always work out that way. There was something there I was really wanting to talk about. Oh yeah, you'll notice during this raid there are actually a couple times where I'm struggling with threat against a couple of these guys, specifically Ret Paladins and Feral Druids. But the thing I want you to keep in mind is that as a Warlock tank, you only have one spell that has a threat modifier on it, which is Searing Pain. Nothing else has that modifier on it, which means as far as building up threat, it's really your only thing that you want to spam. And I'm telling you this because I don't want you to get disheartened this early in the game on Season of Discovery, because this is the weakest that the Warlock tank is going to be, is here at 25. Because your one high threat ability that you're using for tanking, you trained at level 18, which means you're probably going to be getting the higher rank of it at level 26. As soon as the next phase comes out and you level one time, you'll probably get an upgrade to Searing Pain. If it's not at 26, it'll be at 28. But this spell is already 7 levels old, and it's your best spell for threat, right? So like I say, this is the weakest the Warlock tank is going to get. We do not have Soul Link, we do not have Master Demonologist, so all those later talents in the Demonology tree that really ramp up the damage mitigation that you're going to be getting as a Warlock tank, we don't have access to them yet. This is only going to get better. I don't really feel like as a Warlock tank, I don't really feel like I was all that squishy for the healers, but I have noticed that the healers have been having trouble in this raid because there's a lot of group damage coming through, so they're burning through a lot of mana on everybody, not just the tanks. So there have been quite a few times where I've needed, like almost every fight, I need to sacrifice my Voidwalker multiple times. So but again, this is the weakest we're gonna be, and the next phase you're gonna be able to go to Soul Link, and after that, in the phase 3, you're gonna be able to start branching out into the other trees and pick up some more threat abilities. So I wouldn't worry about it too much. Like I say, Searing Pain being this old at this level, being 7 levels old, is just kind of unfortunate. I mean, it is what it is, though. But don't get down on yourself if you're having trouble tanking as a Warlock, having trouble keeping threat. This is the worst it's going to get in that regard. So, let's see. I know I've had a lot of people saying, what, no instant corruption for tanking? And the reason for that is it's just not enough threat. If you spend a global cooldown to cast something other than Searing Pain at the start of the pull, you're going to lose threat immediately. If I can pull from a distance and get 3 Searing Pains on the target before they get to me, I can take the time to put a Drain Life on. But past that, you can't afford to be wasting a global cooldown on anything that isn't giving you a high amount of threat immediately, or you're going to lose threat. So every time I've tried it in these raids where I try to use other spells besides Searing Pain and Drain Life, I was just immediately losing threat. Didn't matter what I did. A lot of that is, you know, the fact that some of these guys or some of these classes are in a really good place at level 25 compared to where a Warlock tank is. But regardless, I mean, it just doesn't work. You're not going to be able to do it. Just give up on the instant corruption for now. It's not worth it. I've found that as far as the groups go, I need the mitigation from demonology, and I don't have time to be casting corruption anyways, even if it is an instant cast. So just don't even worry about the instant corruption at this point. If you're taking that, you're missing out on damage mitigation. Honestly, if you can't sacrifice a Void Walker 3 times during a raid boss, you're honestly just letting your healers down. You're making it harder on them. So, that's all I've got for you. I've rambled on long enough about this. Just wanted to do another overview of the Warlock tanking now that we've gotten in and gotten to give it a try. And yeah, that's what I've found so far. So be sure to leave me a like, comment, subscribe, all that fun jazz, and I'll catch you in the next one.